Brought to you by Hug House Productions.
Hi, hello, listener of Never Morphed. If you like this show, I am convinced you are going to love The Newest Olympian by Mike Schubert. Why am I so certain? Because that's one of the shows that inspired this show. Real ones who listen to the credits already know. Each week, Mike dives into the Percy Jackson series, which I love, joined by guests who are longtime fans of the Rick Riordan series. If you haven't read these books yet, this is the perfect way to get started and read along with Mike. They're so good. And like Animorphs, they're kids' books that touch on way more serious topics than you might expect. And they're about worldwide mythologies, starting with Greek and Roman. I know you gays love mythology. If you have already read the books and know how good they are, you'll love this series too. The dramatic irony, man. And if you know about the books from the Disney Plus series, Mike has done interviews and conversations with some of the cast of the show on The Newest Olympian too. Mike is a great host, a great editor, and obviously a huge inspiration for me. You can find The Newest Olympian in the show notes or wherever you get your podcasts. Go subscribe right now and enjoy.
Brought to you by Hug House Productions.
Welcome back to Never Morphed, the podcast in which I talk about how obsessed I am with Visser One. I'm joined again by Josh Rubino of Valence, the Kingmaker Histories, and Waiting for October, all linked in the show notes as usual. We'd really love if you would support Never Morphed on Patreon over at patreon.com/hughousepods, where you can also get early audio, bonus audio, my notes, meow, 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 you know the drill. On to the second half of our conversation on Book 5. Chapter 14 is...
horror. It is pure
straight horror. Straight, it's crazy.
And I knew there was going to be trouble when they saw that other single ant and they let it go.
I know.
Come on, you idiots.
Yeah. Ants are fucking terrifying. There is... So these other ants, they're just being swarmed by a different species of ants because they're on their territory, I guess. And, I mean, limbs are being torn off. Marco is feeling that his waist, which is being bitten down on, his waist is about to snap in half. He's about to snap in half. It is so fucked up. It's so fucked up. Everybody is in pain. Like
his waist is truly about to get snatched.
So they're like, okay, well, we have no choice. We have to unmorph now. So luckily they do, and they survive, I guess. But as we see in the next chapter, this fucked up everyone.
Oh, yeah. This was a war scene. And the way the chapter ends with Marco taking a shower and finding an ant head still, biting into his side. Good Lord.
So fucked up. So fucked up. I was reading this and, getting lightheaded. It's genuinely... It is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I speed read through this.
Same.
I was reading it and I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to keep going through. This is not getting better. I need to get out of this quick, you know?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So Marco shows up to school the next day and he is compartmentalizing hard. He's like, yeah,
just not going to think about it.
I'm just not going to think about it. It's fine. I just won't think about it, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to think about yesterday. I'm not going to think about my mom's death anniversary coming up. I'm not going to think about anything. It's fine. And then he sees the others. Oh, go ahead.
We've been told that Marco's mom is Hispanic, but that must mean that Marco's dad is Caucasian, because that is A+ level repression right there.
Yes, I think that he does say that he is biracial, but this certainly confirms it. Yeah, so he sees the others, and they are they are not okay. No. They are all quiet. They look shell-shocked. They're just eyes wide, staring into the middle distance. They clearly, none of them have slept. And he's like, okay, whatever. But he does.
I just wanted to put a blanket around every one of them.
I know.
Give them a hot drink.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, you can retire now. I don't think the universe is important enough for this. I mean, I guess it is, but...
You're good, kids. You're all good. Give me the cube. I'll do it for you.
Yeah. So Marco is looking at them all, and he is thinking about how, like, one of these days, one of them is going to snap. They're just going to go fucking crazy.
Rachel.
Yeah. And he does relate this back to his dad. And he talks about, like, his dad was this really strong, brilliant, with it person. And his dad fell apart. And if that can happen to his dad after his wife died, it's gonna happen to one of the others, which was, like, very real and very sad and very accurate. Because then at lunch, this girl named Jessica, like, knocks into Rachel. Rachel freaks out. Jessica is like, okay, fucking fight me. And Rachel is like, I will fucking fight you. Rachel's
Let's
like,
go,
thank
Jessica.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, Rachel is ready to throw down at someone and pretend they are an ant.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about that. Oh my God. Before they leave from unmorphing after having been almost killed by the ants, Rachel is stomping down on the ground. And ostensibly, it's because she wants to make it seem like humans didn't just come out of the ground there. But she is definitely stomping all of those ants to death.
Yeah. She is enacting pure vengeance there. Yes. She is not fooling anyone.
No.
And you know what? She has earned that vengeance.
I do feel like she has. I agree. Yeah. So she's, like, ready to burst when Jessica knocks into her. They throw down. Rachel fully, like, throws her and pins her down on a lunch table. The teachers come over. It's, like, a whole fiasco. They get taken to Chapman's, and Chapman is like, Rachel, why would you do
Marco is the
this?
only one that actually got hurt.
Yeah. That's right.
Because he tried to break him up.
Yeah. I love that Chapman is like, this is not like you, Rachel. And Jessica is like, oh, she's better than me? And he just doesn't answer her.
Yeah. Like, Jessica, this is not the first time you've been in my office today. Like,
she does have that
the vibe
energy.
That
Yeah. And then Marco, so Rachel, he's like, what, is there a stressor going on at home that is making you behave like this? And Marco is, like, a little worried that Rachel might say something. I don't think that he really believes that she's going to, but he jumps in and he says, I'm sorry, Chapman. This was all my fault. They were fighting over me. It's just that they're both so fucking into me. And, like, I get it. Don't you get it?
And Chapman responds with just, like, this fucking kid. Like,
Jessica is like, responds, you wish?
Chapman responds in a way that you can tell Marco is a name that is brought up in the teacher's lounge. Yeah. Like, more than one adult wants to punch this child in the face.
Yes. Marco is exactly, speaking as somebody who was a teacher, Marco is exactly the kind of kid who some teachers absolutely fucking hate him. They want him out of their class. They can't stand him. They talk shit. The other teachers, he is their favorite because he is funny and interesting.
Yeah. The English teachers love Marco.
Yes, exactly. I was an English teacher and I love Marco.
Yeah. But the math and science teachers hate Marco.
Yep.
There is a bio teacher in that school that will absolutely shank Marco if they had the chance.
Yes. And then this is when Rachel calls Marco cool and collected. She says that she appreciates his humor and tells him to keep it up because they obviously really fucking need it. Like, they need the comic relief. And yeah, agreed. Like, he'll be thinking of this one for quite some time.
Yeah. And you know what? I've got Final Fantasy VII on the brain.
Oh yes.
Dallas is playing the remake.
Nice.
Right now. And when I was growing up, everybody hated Kate Sith. I loved Kate Sith. You needed Kate Sith in that game because you're a bunch of eco-terrorists with trauma. Yeah. And you need a little cat making jokes.
Yeah.
He is their Kate Sith. Once again, another one of those references that like one listener is gonna get, and listener, I love you out there.
Man, I don't know. Knowing the kind of demographic that reads Animorphs and would listen to this podcast, I think that Venn diagram is like pretty close to a circle. So
yeah, okay. Yeah, you're probably right.
So chapter 16, the distress beacon is done. He's got it. He did it. And then I got really excited when they said that they were going to deploy it in a quarry. I love a quarry. I think I like
That is the most Will Williams thing I have ever. I love a quarry. It is the fact that you have your favorite type of like geological feature.
As I was typing my notes, I was like, I know, but it's true. The notes are literally, yeah, woohoo, I love a quarry.
When you know your brand, your own personal brand so well that you're like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, straight up.
Oh, God, I love you so much.
I was so stoked. I was so thrilled. I'm sure that this happens in the live reactions, but I was really delighted. We don't even spend much time in this quarry.
It is a complete afterthought.
It is.
Oh my God. There's like a 0 point something % chance that the Applegates will listen to these, in my mind anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I want them to hear you go on about quarries, and like one of them goes to the other like, see?
Yeah.
I knew we were right to put that quarry in there. Kids love quarries.
Not to be so me, but like it is really plot relevant. It's a great setting for what's going on here.
Oh.
Because they deploy the beacon. Well, we'll get to there, I suppose. I just really love Quarry. So okay, so before we even go there, this is just them talking about the quarry. They haven't even deployed it here. I just got so excited. So
I'm looking forward to your next podcast, Quarrycast.
Yeah.
Oh.
People thought that they were getting into a podcast about Animorphs, but it's actually just a character study of a deeply unwell, very specific person.
Isn't that Animorphs? But God, like times 5?
My body hurts from quarry laughter.
Oh my God. Okay. Don't cut any of that.
I won't.
The quarry laugh stays in.
Okay.
All right.
So they're gonna go do this thing, and they're like, okay, we have to fly there. So Axe, you have to get a morph, and Axe is like, I want to be like whatever the fuck Tobias is. That shit is sick. Which
I loved that moment.
That
made me so happy.
It did. It also raised my little Tobias abandonment issues alarm, but nothing came of it. So we're good.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the next Tobias book.
Me too.
And like seeing their relationship from his perspective, because it doesn't look like he dislikes Axe or has any reservations about Axe at all.
No, I think that this might just really be me projecting as a kid who had abandonment issues. But I'm really hoping for his sake that is the case. I would really love for them to just be friends because they have a lot in common, and I think that they would hit it off if they like just got a chance to chill. So I'm really hoping that is the case.
Yeah.
And then Marco walks home with Jake from this meeting, And they're talking about normal things at first, specifically music, video games, and the NBA.
And, of course, whether or not Spider-Man could beat Batman.
Oh, certainly. You're right. Halfway through this walk back, after they've talked about, like, normal shit, Jake is like, anyway, so what's up? Because he knows Marco. And Marco is like, huh? What do you mean? And Jake is like, shut up. What's up? And Marco says that after this next mission, he is out for real. He is fucking done. And he doesn't want to be guilted into helping them more, which is like, yeah, like it does really suck that they always guilt him into joining, though, like, you know, obviously he's got some agency here, but Jake is actually totally amenable to that. He's like, yeah, man, like you've done more than enough. You've helped so much. You have served your time. You do not have to be doing this if you don't want to. It's very sweet.
We were both in the ant trenches together. I release you, brother.
Yes. I also think that Jake doesn't really buy it. Like, this is like the gajillionth time that Marco has been like, I'm definitely out. I'm not doing it. And every single time he's come back. So I think that Jake is also like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're definitely retiring, Lieutenant Martin Riggs. You know, you are. Yeah.
And then Jake very sweetly asks Marco what he's going to do on Sunday because he knows what day it is. And Marco is like, listen, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know if I should bring it up with my dad. I don't know if I should not bring it up with my dad. The end of chapter 16 is, but I'll tell you one thing, Jake. A year from now, I don't want my dad going to leave flowers at 2 graves.
Oh. Yeah. That fucking moment.
It's really beautiful. It's really real. There's such a sense of maturity to this book. There really is. Like, of that emotional maturity and that honesty. Like, it's just really real and really beautiful. I love how all of these moments for Marco are written. I love getting to see Marco be honest and tender and vulnerable, especially with Jake. This is a really fucking good book.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
I know that, I definitely believe you that Jake is like, he's not gonna actually retire, but I also definitely believe that Jake genuinely would have let him go.
Yes.
At that point.
100%. Yes. I mean, he's a good friend. He loves his friend. It really comes through when he's honest with Marco. He doesn't bullshit Marco. So I think that there's definitely both of those things in Jake at that moment.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like if Marco did leave, like if he was actually done here, Jake would sort of hold that to him. Like, at least one of us made it out, you know?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
He would also definitely get in the way of anybody who was trying to go guilt Marco. He would be like, no, you cannot do that. That is not okay. He has put up this boundary and you will not be crossing it. It took him a lot to get to this point. Honor it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Jake.
They're such good kids.
They are. So, chapter 17, time for the quarry.
Yeah! Welcome to the Quarry Cast.
So, Marco is still convinced that he's going to quit after this, and he's not sure if Jake has told anyone else yet. So he's like in this weird space where he doesn't know if he should be talking about like their future together. He's talking about like, oh, I wish that we had cool uniforms, and then he's like, oh, should I not be saying that? He doesn't really know.
Yeah. But of course Jake hasn't.
No, of course, of course,
because Jake is amazing.
Yeah. And so they place the distress beacon in the quarry. Everybody gets into their battle morphs. Axe is staying in his Andalite morph, which I don't know. That seemed like a really bad idea to me, and I couldn't really I don't know why, because it seems like if anything, it's a good idea because
it confirms Visser 3's suspicions that there are Andalites.
Right, but it made me really worried for Axe. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it because so like when they're morphed, they're essentially like big Mario in that they can take a hit and get injured.
Yes.
And then they'll just turn back to normal Mario.
Right.
But if Axe is going in there without changing, then any damage Axe sustains is just Axe damage.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at.
And on top of that, Visser 3 is like addicted to graphically murdering Andalites. So
yeah,
so he sees one in Andalite
horny
form.
to kill Andalites.
Oh, he really is. He loves it. So like all of this combined, I was like, I don't like it. But so they send off the distress beacon, and the concept here, it's not a distress beacon to the Andalites. I don't think that we've explained this yet. It's a distress beacon to the Yeerks because it's a trap. Because they want to steal the Yeerk ship.
They want to carjack a couple of Yeerks.
Right, which is phenomenal and insane, but great.
And so stupid. And the exact thing that I thought when reading this plan, I was like, oh, okay, so you think they're just not going to recognize that it's a weird signal coming from some, like...
Right.
Like, come on. Yes. This is another tally in the Axe is actually a 5-year-old sort of.
Yes, deeply. And in fact, a bug fighter arrives and... Almost instantly. And a Hork-Bajir comes out and they're like, get him. And they are fighting him. And he's like, oh no, I guess I'm fought. And he just like kind of gives up. And then chapter 18, this is absolutely a fucking ambush. This was so Fallout New Vegas. I loved it because, okay, the reason that the quarry is a really good location is that they're at the bottom of the quarry, and then at the top of the quarry, there's just like tons and tons and tons and tons of Hork-Bajir, and they all have Dracon beams, and they're making like a cage of the Dracon beams. These kids are fucked. That's all bad. And then, of course, in comes Visser 3 doing his little thing. I love that he's like obsessed with Jake's tiger morph.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, it's such a lethal creature. Yeah. I shall have to find one and acquire it. Like, the only problem I have with this plan, like, is just the timing in that the response to the signal happens so quickly. I don't think Visser 3 was done with his initial monologue by the time that the actual plan went down. So whatever's occurring when he's talking to them here is like the tail end of that victory speech that he'd already been given, which is why he's in full Skeletor mode right here. Yeah. They caught him mid-monologue and he's like, okay, well, I guess topic change. Keep in character. Yeah. Oh, why does only the little ones speak? Yeah. Why are the rest of you so quiet? Like, it's... But also, he's working something out there. But not fast enough. He's so stupid. No. He's so fucking stupid. I love him so much. I love him. He's my favorite character. He's so good. So funny. And I love when... we're basically there, but I love that when we meet Visser 1, who is Marco's mom. Yeah! I love that when we meet them, like, Visser 3 is like, oh, what do you mean I'm being melodramatic? And she's just like, Greg, can you take it down 5 notches? Like... That is so my favorite thing, is their relationship, is that one of them is John Lithgow, and the other one just wants to do their job. It's so Venture Brothers. Yes, it is absolutely a Venture Brothers dynamic right there. Yes, it's so fucking funny. Yeah, so Visser 3 is Phantom Limb. Yeah. I am the grandson of the great Phantom Arts. Yeah, and... Oh my and God. One is just Rusty being like, okay, anyway, I've built this awful gun. Like, yeah. I built the Ure. Yeah. So Visser 1 is like, this fucking slaps. I'm going to show you off to Visser 3, which is so funny and so pathetic. And Marco does have another, again, extremely sad moment here where he's like, man, literally tomorrow, my dad is going to go to my mom's grave alone, and I will be dead, and my body will not be found like hers wasn't found. Fucked up. Mm-hmm. But again, we do pivot pretty quickly into so that they get taken onto the Blade ship,
And then they're on this, they dock on the mothership. There is this great moment where they're like being taken in the blade ship brig, where Marco is cracking jokes and he says, "That got some half-hearted laughs from the others. I don't know why I was making jokes. I guess that's the way I am. When bad things happen, I tell jokes. But inside, I felt sick, like I had swallowed broken glass. Girl, same. I felt very seen."
Yeah. Oh, poor Marco.
Poor Marco.
And just like going back to Visser 1 and Visser 3. Visser 3 is like, I'm going to show you off to my boss. And I'm going to tell her, oh, you see, I've solved the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. And like, I feel like there's this whole dynamic between them that is only on Visser 3's side.
Yes.
Like, the surface of this is this big political back and forth sort of thing, and it is supported by the fact that, you know, Visser 1 lets them escape. But it also would have been really funny if, like, Visser 3 has all these political machinations of, like, trying to usurp Visser 1's role and Visser 1 is just trying to find a replacement so that she can either retire or join the Council of 13.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's a Council of 13 in this. Another Venture Brothers thing.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God.
Up until they're released, you could really read it as, okay, if you want my job, you have to stop all of this dramatic shit.
Yeah, you have to just get real.
Get your act together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just like, never! And he's putting on even bigger boots. Like, as he's saying that, he's strapping on a cape and putting on opera gloves. And, like...
He's got some kind of stupid fucking helmet, like...
Yeah. He's adding horns to the helmet.
Yeah. So on the mothership, we also importantly see that there are 3 different uniform colors for the controller armies. There's brown, which is very clearly just like the red shirts. And then there's red, which is Visser 3's troops, and black, which are Visser 1's troops. This is important. And then we
Visser
have this,
1's troops are gold.
Oh, yes. I think it said like black and gold, and I just latched onto the black, but they are gold.
I mean, that says a lot about us that you were like, oh, okay, they're the black uniforms. And I'm like, no, they are the gold uniforms.
That is precisely us. So then there is like this big wind-up sequence for us getting to see Visser 1. And it's fucking Marco's mom. And I lost my fucking mind. I really did not see it coming. I was blown away.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. And Marco is still a gorilla, and he just, like, sits. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, he is beyond... His brain is fully exploded.
Yeah.
And Jake recognizes her, too, I believe, right?
Yes, Jake does recognize her.
But the others have never met Marco's mom, so only Marco and Jake recognize. Yeah, Jake does recognize her because the entire time he's like, Marco, don't freak out. Marco, you cannot freak out. And so that's when we meet, or we first see the dynamic between Visser 1 and Visser 3, and we learn that little Yerk lore that there's, 40 some odd Vissers, and then we also learn that there is the Council of 13, presumably above them.
Like, this is all great and super good information, but truly what does matter here is that immediately after this reveal, Visser 3 and Visser 1 have the single best conversation of the series so far.
Oh, yes.
They're so bitchy. I love it.
They hate each other so much.
Yes.
And it definitely is, Visser 3 thinks of Visser 1 as his ultimate arch enemy, and Visser 1 is like, this fucking splinter that I have to deal with. Like, Visser 3 is so far below Visser 1 in Visser 1's opinion.
Yes. The whole conversation is so good. I love that he's like, ooh, well, when I take your job, and she's like, you literally can't fucking handle it. Look at you right now. Look at you. Come on.
Yeah. They called me from the home base, from the home planet, where presumably we're controlling an empire, because you can't take over one planet.
Yeah.
With a populace that doesn't know we exist and has no natural weaponry.
Yes. And on top of this, we talked about her being hot as fuck. First off, she's so fucking hot here. And also, I do definitely picture this as all coming out of the mouth of, like, Sofia Vergara. Like, she's got to be beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why I see everything as animated.
No, that's correct.
But she looks like Talia al Ghul.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Especially
yes,
after she has that one gray bang.
Yes.
And it's never described that way in the books, but she has to have the one gray bang.
Oh, yeah. She's got it. She's got it for the MILF vibes, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's so hot here. She's so mean and she's so competent. And it's just like, whew, whew.
Mm-hmm. And it also says something about the two of them that she's in a human body. Of no, like, as far as we know, Marco's mom was a housewife.
Right. She's not like a super spy.
Yeah. So there's no tactical importance to her.
No.
She just picked a human body. Mm-hmm. Whereas Visser 3 is so, like, insecure.
He's got all the advantages and it doesn't fucking matter.
No. And so we also learn a couple of things about their management styles here. Mm-hmm. So Visser 3's Hork-Bajir speak in this sort of, like, garbled language salad between English and Hork-Bajir.
Yes.
Whereas Visser 1's Hork-Bajir are described as sounding like they
were educated at Harvard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So sounded like Kelsey Grammer in my head when that Hork-Bajir was talking. But, like,
right.
And it also goes back to when Visser 3 is doing his little, oh, I've got you right where I want you speech.
Yes.
He talks about how, oh, maybe I'll give you over to my top lieutenants. But I don't like anyone else having an Andalite body, so maybe I'll just kill you. Like,
yeah. And then on top of that, one of the big sticking points here is, as Visser 3 is showing off his prisoners to Visser 1, he's like, yeah, look at that humanoid one. And she's like, that's a gorilla.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And she's like, you are literally in charge of the earth. Learn anything. Learn anything.
Anything about this planet, please. Yeah.
And he's like, why? Ooh. And she's like, you're so useless.
Like, how is he Visser 3 is the main question that I have. Like, it has to be just because.
Andalite body.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Like,
that's the one thing he's going for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even his properly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that idiot.
Me too. God. Okay. So he is like, yeah, I'm going to yerk them. It's going to be awesome. And then he puts them in the brig. And then chapter 22. Okay, chapter 22 is gorgeous and so upsetting. This is when he is looking back and he's reflecting on all of his positive memories of his mom, just kind of all of his memories of his mom, and starting to think, like,
when was she a yerk?
Yes.
Like, how long?
Yes.
Did I even know my mom?
Right. Like, what was her acting? This is when he brings up, like, is the yerk the person I saw sloppy making out with my dad like they were 16? Yeah. We have already seen the way that Chapman and Melissa's mom act, though, and they were so distinctly different. But Marco wasn't there for that. He was like, I mean, he was maybe like, you know, like hanging out, waiting for like to be reinforcements, but he was not there witnessing it. That was just Rachel. So I think it's very likely that it was recently as of when she went missing that she got yerked. But like I really can't say. It could also be that, you know, again, she's like competent, so like maybe she knew how to fake it really well. But this whole sequence is really beautiful and really tragic.
It's that part of every book where the kids all make peace with death. Yeah, and it's the extra bit of flavor where Marco is just like, yeah, it was my mom. And not only that, like, she's been alive this whole time. Yes. But, like, if you think about it, this is the only way to keep Marco as an Animorph. Yeah. This is the only thing that would have kept him going. And I'm glad, like, the reveal feels like something that should have come later on. Yeah. But it makes so much more sense that it's in book 5 if you think about it. Because that means they're not spending all this time. They've only spent, 4 books prior with him hemming and hawing about being an Animorph. And that way it doesn't become this like trope of his character, because that's an annoying thing to have a character do in every fucking book.
Yeah, it's way more exciting and interesting if Marco's tension here is not like, I don't wanna, wham. Instead of that it's the tension of knowing that they really gotta probably take down Visser One eventually, and like not wanting to, and like not knowing how to navigate this with his friends, because they are not telling anybody that that's who that is. They are not telling anybody. So he has to keep living like an orphan, or not an orphan. He has to keep living like somebody who lost his mom, and they all have to just go along with it. And he has to act like he didn't just see this, like, and he doesn't have this information. That's really exciting, interesting conflict. I love that this is when this happens. I think that it works really well. And I love that it is going to be ostensibly a secret for a good long time. I think this is a narratively interesting secret to have a character have.
It's going to be so cool just watching this be set to boil. And
like a lobster.
Finally, And finally, Marco has skin in the game, as far as Marco's concerned.
Yeah, and so when Axe is like, well, I guess now we all die with grace, and Marco is like, actually, no. Actually, fuck that. Actually, we gotta fight. It felt really earned.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love when Axe is like, do humans fear death? And Marco's like, fuck yeah. Yeah, we fear death. And Axe is just like, yeah, so do Andalites. I'm fucking scared. You know what I'm also kind of surprised at? That none of them have taken an Andalite form. Like, I know it's not going to help with their camouflage, but
like, wouldn't it be cool?
Fuck yeah, Axe has a battle form just as himself.
Right. And also, wouldn't this again like go on to confirm to Visser 3 that they're all Andalites? Hey guys, what the fuck? Hey guys. He took your DNA.
Yeah. Do a trade.
Then the way this chapter ends, it's so good. I'm so in love with Visser One.
Oh yeah.
So they're about to like break out and do a fight. But then the door to the brig opens and there's a bunch of Visser 3's Hork-Bajir on the ground, dead or knocked out, and a bunch of Visser 1's troops standing there. And they realize that Visser
is playing politics and letting them go. And they particularly recognize this when the Hork-Bajir, that sounds like Kelsey Grammer in my head, gives them specific instructions on how to get to an escape pod. Yeah. He's like, you got about
you're going to have to unmorph.
5 minutes.
To do this.
Yeah. You got about 5 minutes before other people are going to get you. You should probably book it now. Here's a map that I will draw you with my words.
I'm literally like crying, laughing. It's so fucking funny. I was losing my shit when I heard this.
Like everyone, it presents the image that everyone under Visser One's command is incredibly competent because she knows that's how you get things done.
Yeah.
Is by having good people under you. Whereas Visser 3 will continually make sure that everyone under his command is only as capable as they need to be so that nobody usurps him. And since Visser 1 is the leader of all of the Vissers, I have to imagine that Visser 3 is the only one that is this mega dramatic bitch.
Yes. Nobody else, literally nobody else in the books acts like this so far. Like Chapman is an assistant vice principal and he does not talk like this. He is normal.
If anyone is going to do this, it would be an assistant vice principal. You just
right. And even he is like, Visser 3 is so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so good. So, yeah, my note here just says, I'm obsessed with Visser 1. I think she's a love of my life. I need her.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I have a carnal need for Visser 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 No, I'm in love with her. I immediately, after closing this book, I was like, now there's gotta be some shit on AO3 about this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's so good. So, chapter 23, they get out of there, they escape. They're being like chased, and it's like, there's like combat going on, whatever, but they get out fine. And as they are in the escape pod, Marco says just the funniest, saddest shit. He's such a Mercutio. He says,
yes, he is. Oh my God.
He says, it was kind of a joke now, I thought. The Yerk mothership. My mother on the Yerk ship. Ha ha.
Oh, this wound? No, it's not that big. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh.
And then we have this beautiful end chapter. All of these books, almost all of them, have like really beautiful last chapters. And this is one of my favorites. I actually think that the end chapter of book 4 is my favorite overall so far. In that one, Cassie goes back to the dolphins, who she's had this like really intense turmoil about, like whether or not they can consent to having their DNA taken in this way. She goes back to them and she morphs into a dolphin and shows them what she's done. And they are just like, cool, let's play together. And then she plays with them and it's so sweet. It's really beautiful, even though I don't like dolphins. It was very good. And in this one, I was taken very off guard by this beautiful little chapter. He goes to the graveyard with his dad and it's tense and it's awkward. And then his dad starts talking to him. And he's like, wow, it's crazy that it's been 2 years. And Marco's like, yeah. And then his dad is like,
I haven't been a very good dad. I need to go to therapy.
Yeah, he's like, if your mom saw how I had been taking care of you since she died, she would be pissed with me. And I got to work on that.
Yeah. And I just like how he's not, he said, I'm going to give Jerry a call.
Yeah.
And I like how it's not, he says he's going to give Jerry a call and he says he's going to work on being a good dad. And it's not, I called Jerry and I have my job back. Like it's, I mean, obviously that's what's going to happen, but like, I like that it's more, I have to put in the work.
Yes.
And fix what's happened. And I'm willing to do that because I care about you, my son, Yeah,
it's really beautiful. It's like, it's really, really, really well written. It's so sweet. I also love that the focus is not on the job. It's not on the money. It's not on anything else. It's not about his self-improvement. It's about, I want to show up for you, my son. It's so good. It's so good.
And I also really like how Marco's like, yeah, I probably should have hugged him or done something like that.
Yeah.
But that's not who I am. And then he makes fun of him, and they have this playful, wonderful moment back and forth.
Yeah, they shit talk each other. It's so sweet.
Yeah, it's a really just a lovely closing chapter.
So, since we last talked, I have started ranking the books and the characters, and I would love to hear your rankings of both. Let's start with the characters, and we can just go the kids. We can just go the kids.
Okay, we'll just go the kids.
Uh-huh.
So Marco is maybe top of the list at this point. He might be tied with Jake for number one, but both of them, I love them both dearly. Placing after those two is Tobias.
Okay.
Then Cassie.
Okay.
Because she's very sweet.
She is.
And I know that she is kind of a pain, but like, yeah, I mean, at least rereading them at this point, she's very sweet. And she's
very sweet.
I love all the moments in this book when Jake and Cassie like secretly be a cute little couple.
We didn't even talk about that, but yes, it's precious. I am all for them. I love that pairing. They're adorable.
Yeah, they are adorable, and I want them to end happily ever after. And then after Cassie, I'm tossing him in here. Axe.
Oh my god, I have to add Axe. That's right.
I really like Axe. It speaks to all of the other kids that Axe is this far down on the list. Because I really love Axe. But he is a child soldier, and I end up mad at him more often than not because of his naivete.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly is Rachel. I love Rachel. She is a warrior queen. She needs therapy.
She needs
to go to therapy.
There's so much wrong with her. I love her.
She is a broken person.
Yeah.
And we are at book 5.
Yeah. I can't wait.
She gets bad.
Yeah, like one of the only things I knew going into these books, I knew that Tobias became a Forever Hawk at some point, and I knew that Rachel commits war crimes. Those are the two things I knew.
Yeah. Yep. I love Visser 3, though. Visser 3, out of all of the characters, Visser 3 is my main favorite.
Yeah.
Out of all of the kids, Marco and Jake are tied for first.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to keep most of my rankings here. Like, go do a Patreon. Go do a Patreon. You'll get my notes. You'll get the full rankings. Yes, Visser 1 is the very top of my list now. But in as much as the kids go, tops is Marco. I love him. I've loved him since day one, even when I've absolutely hated him. But now I love him completely. Nobody else really stood a chance in this ranking for me, other than Marco to be top. After that, Rachel. She is such a mess. I love her. She's got so many problems. I love her. I love her.
She does. And I would like to be clear. I don't dislike any of the kids.
Oh, no. They're all
I love them all.
Darlings.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're they're terrible. But
some of them weren't meant to be child soldiers.
We have opposite takes on how that manifests because Cassie is dead last for me so far.
Yeah.
It's I get it. I respect it, but I can't deal with a non-confrontational person. I can't do it. So
and that's not going to get any better.
I don't think it will. After Rachel for me is Jake. He really, I've always loved Jake, but he really came back up in the ranks in this book for me. Next is Axe. He's perfect. Obviously, he's so absurd and funny, and I love him. After Axe, Tobias, and then Cassie.
What does it say that your Liam character is so far down on the list?
I know. Well, obviously. As soon as we get another Tobias POV, he's going to jump right back up for me. I think we've had too much time away from him at this point. He's been too tertiary. So he's gotten kind of lost in the mix. But as soon as we get back to him, he's going to hop right back up. I'm such a sucker for a sad boy, clearly. Okay. Do you have any leading questions for me, I suppose?
All right. Well, now we know what happened to everybody's parents in this book.
Do we?
So I'm going to say that. And then...
Okay.
And then this is not as important, but
okay.
Earlier on in the book, when they're talking about the Hork-Bajir, Axe, or it's either Axe says this, or they remember that Prince Elfangor said that the Hork-Bajir used to be like a good people.
Yes.
Now, what kind of people, what kind of creature do you think the Hork-Bajir are, that they are covered in blades? Like, that is just how their bodies are.
Yeah. So they're prey animals, right? Like, when I think of having blades and protective shit all around you, I think of like deer having antlers. You know, I think of like shellfish having chitin. I guess we did find out that the lobsters are definitely predators. But that same sort of idea of like, I think that they are probably built to protect themselves instead of being built to kill. Also, the fact that Elfangor / Axe say that they were like a good species is, I'm assuming that they were somehow subservient to Andalites and like somehow useful to Andalites. Because I don't think that the Andalites have a good judgment on what makes a creature good. And I also assume that they were like militaristically advantageous to the Andalites, because we know that they are, they're built in a way where they can cause damage, and the Andalites are like, they were so good. So I'm just assuming that they were like, and we also know that the Andalites are so militaristic that they must be thinking of them strategically, not ethically, not morally, but strategically. The Hork-Bajir were very useful and compliant.
Oh, I love watching the gears turn in your head. My God. Oh.
I can't wait to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, anything else? Any other predictions you want me to make here?
What do you think Visser 2 is like?
Oh, that's a great one. Okay. I think Visser 2 is certainly not going to be a human. I think that Visser 2, I think it would make sense for Visser 2 to be a Hork-Bajir. However, I'm going to say that Visser 2 is going to be a taxon. The reason I'm going to say this is because we know that taxons were like down to fucking clown with the Yeerks. They were like, let's go, let's do this. So I can see them being like really gung-ho, really like wanting to get into the thick of it. I think they're going to be a taxon, and I think that they are going to be doing their own shit. I think that they have their own problems. They rank higher than Visser 3, but I don't think that I would think of them as Visser 3's like direct report. Like, they're not their boss. And I think that I just think they have better things to do. Maybe they are in charge of the planet where they encountered taxons, or maybe they were in charge of the planet that took over the Hork-Bajir. I think they're in charge of another planet, though. And I think that they've like got their own shit going on. And anytime they have to be around Visser 3, they're like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. I think that last part isn't really a prediction in as much as just how I think anybody ever would respond to Visser 3. That one feels kind of a shoe-in, kind of got that one in the bag.
Love it. I'm so excited for the rest of this series.
Me too.
Oh yeah, I did also lay like another thing earlier on in this episode that I'm not going to double back on.
Oh, I know it. Conservation mass. You think I forgot? No.
Oh, that was definitely one, but I wasn't the first one to bring that up.
Oh, fuck. What was the other? Fuck. I'm gonna figure this out as I'm editing this episode and be like, ah! So, listeners, if you hear editing Will.
Editing Will. Listen, I dropped a bomb earlier in this.
Oh, I can't wait. Editing Will here. No, I've got no fucking clue. Okay, are you ready for our final segment?
Yes.
Okay, it's time for Animorphs.
Yes.
I can never say it without laughing. If you were to morph into an animal right now, what would it be?
I would be a bunny so that I could play with my bunny as bunnies.
Yeah.
And also, I am tired of grooming him with my hand. I feel like he would enjoy being groomed by another rabbit.
Yeah, that's very sweet. Very considerate morph of you.
Yeah. How about you?
Today, I'm going to go for a snake. Just a little cute snakey. I think that they seem peaceful and nice. This is, again, I didn't do this on purpose. I realize that this is another very maligned animal that most people don't like.
Oh, no.
But I
cute,
think they're
though.
sweet.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, so I have, like, kind of, like, achy legs right now. Like, I'm just, I feel physically just, like, bleh. And, like, snakes don't have legs that they have to worry about. They just have, like, nice, smooth bodies that are, like, all spine or whatever. I don't really know how snakes work, but, like, that's what they are in my head. And they just get to, like, stretch out and they get to curl up.
Yeah.
Ooh, it sounds so good.
Coiling looks like it must be really comfy.
It must be. And they lay their little heads over the coil.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cute. Yeah, I would be a snake.
You know that's going to show up in one of these books. They're definitely going to turn into a snake at some point.
Oh, yeah. I saw the cover for the next book because I set up my, like, notes document, I think. And it is a fly. And I'm not stoked about that. It's going to be yucky.
That's going to be gross. That is going to be gross.
Well, that's a problem for Noah, who is my guest on the next episode. Josh, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I was so excited to talk about this book with you, and this conversation was lovely. Always happy to have you here.
Always happy to be on here. Thank you for having me. This was the last book specifically where I remembered a thing happening. So I'll either have to do some research about the next episode that I demand to be on, or just let me know. And I'm always happy to come back.
Yeah, will do. Happy to have you.
Never Morphed is hosted, edited, and produced by Will Williams. Our theme music is The Chase by Joey Hendricks. Our title is by Eddie Feely, and this podcast would not exist without Mike Schubert's podcast, Potterless and the Newest Olympian. You can find his works at shub.es, that's shub.es. Never Morphed is a proud member of Hug House Productions. You can find more at hughouse.productions and follow us on Tumblr at Nevermorphed. Get morphin'!
On March 27th, 2024, Elon Musk was deposed in a libel lawsuit filed by Ben Brody. Musk's lawyer, Alex Spiro, tried to retroactively mark the deposition as confidential, but it wasn't.
Of course I can ask him, do you think you committed actual malice? Do you think you were reckless? Of course I can ask those questions.
The deposition is a new Hug House podcast reenactment of the entire deposition, word by word, in full, taken very seriously.
Things that he did wrong.
But that's the point. That's not what you're allowed
Until he really just, like, can't anymore?
Not what you're allowed to do in the deposition. You can't just get him talking.
The deposition drops on the 4th of July, 2024, with 4 weekly episodes. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice or find us at hughouse.productions today.